What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today we got another intel drop for Modern Warfare 3, and this time we got our very first look at Gunsmith, and more specifically they were talking about the new aftermarket parts system that they're adding on top of the Gunsmith. And I know many of you guys have been looking forward to the ISO 9mm gun guide. That will have to be pushed until tomorrow's video, since this is just a little more time sensitive. So don't worry, that is coming, but let's dive into this intel. And before we get into aftermarket parts specifically, I wanted to go through and point out several interesting things I noticed with the Gunsmith this time around. And right here is our very first look on the Renetti pistol, which you guys might recognize from Modern Warfare 2019. This is based on the Beretta 93R, and it's a 3-round burst pistol. And with this, you can see the Gunsmith is laid out basically exactly the same as Modern Warfare 2, although this isn't a surprise whatsoever since we have content carry forward, so everything's carrying over from Modern Warfare 2 into Modern Warfare 3. So because of that, the general structure of the Gunsmith is obviously going to need to stay the same, or they'd have to have two separate styles of Gunsmith, which wouldn't really make much sense, so not really surprising. Also, it looks like weapon platforms are going to be returning. That's not really a big surprise either. On top of this, you'll notice that at least by default, we have access to 5 attachments on our guns, just like in Modern Warfare 2. There is no indication as to whether or not we'll be able to expand that number with perks, for instance. And another key thing to point out from this screen here is on the top right of the screen, that's looking very, very similar to Modern Warfare 2. And this unfortunately leads me to believe that the UI is going to be probably about the same as Modern Warfare 2. I mean, the Gunsmith UI I think is totally fine. Like this screen here, I think is great in Modern Warfare 2. It's more so the other parts, navigating to different game modes that I'm worried about. And seeing that on the top right doesn't fill me with a whole lot of confidence that they're completely reworking that system. Next, when we get into an attachment screen here, this shows us that we are able to see detailed stats. Thankfully, this is something that has been leaked and rumored for a while, but now we see actual confirmation of this being in the game. And I'm really happy to see that. That's going to make my job so much easier, and it's also just going to be that much easier for you guys to navigate. Additionally, on this screen, when you select an attachment, it looks like we're going to have the ability to add attachments as favorites. So you'll be able to tag them and navigate to them a little bit easier, presumably. So that's quite interesting. Next, when we move on to this screen right here, we have the ability to enter the firing range. So this confirms that a firing range will be returning in Modern Warfare 3, although we don't know what that firing range will look like at this point. I'm hoping it's a new and improved version of the firing range from Modern Warfare 2 that just takes things to the next level. And another thing I wanted to point out here with this aftermarket part specifically, if we skip back to the previous screen, it looks like that aftermarket part effectively contains 2 attachments within it, those being a vertical foregrip and a stock. However, when you put it on the gun, this only counts as one of your 5 attachment slots. And with that, those are the primary things I picked up just in general when looking at these Gunsmith images. Unfortunately, one thing that's still a big question is whether or not tuning is going to return for Modern Warfare 3 weapons. At this point, I'm guessing it likely will return, again, just due to the fact that we have content carry forward, and it would be kind of weird if you could tune the Modern Warfare 2 guns, but not the Modern Warfare 3 ones. Also, now that we have detailed stats in the Gunsmith, I think tuning would be far more approachable to the average player out there that otherwise doesn't engage with it. But again, unfortunately, this video just doesn't confirm anything for us. Now let's move into the aftermarket parts specifically and what they are and how they work. Essentially, aftermarket parts are just conversion kits for guns that effectively turn them into a different gun, or they drastically change them to the point where their performance is going to be like a different gun. And the first one that we already sort of had a look at here is on that Renetti. We have the ability to use a full auto carbine conversion. And with this, again, it effectively contains 2 attachments in one. There's a vertical foregrip in there as well as a stock. And as far as the pros, it allows for tactical stance, which is something that has been touched on in previous blog posts. With this tac stance, it's kind of like using a canted laser when you aim down sight. You don't fully aim down sight, you just sort of tilt your weapon to the side. And it makes the gun more accurate than hipfire, but less accurate than being fully aimed down sight, while also allowing you to maintain a lot more mobility than you would have if you were aiming down sight fully. And that is something you can toggle on and off in the middle of gameplay. Additionally, this helps with our bullet velocity and range, rate of fire, and it turns it into a full auto, because by default, this is a 3-round burst. As for the cons, it will harm our mobility and handling, as well as our recoil control. So as you can see with this one, it drastically changes this gun. That's effectively a totally different gun at this point. Whereas for the next one they talked about, this is for the Pulemyot 762, it's the PKM. And with this, while they didn't show in the video, we did get a blog post which shows the image off for this. And this one is a bullpup conversion kit, so it does turn it into a bullpup, which improves our mobility and handling, our rate of fire, and our hip fire and tac stance spread. So it's interesting to see that we will have the ability to change our spread in tac stance as well as hip fire. And this comes at the cost of recoil control and bullet velocity and range. But then finally with this, we have the WSP Swarm, which is based on the Uzi. And with this, an aftermarket part they showed off is the akimbo brace stocks. So that effectively just turns this into akimbo, so you hold two guns, one in each hand. However, the cons on this, it looks like it's going to be slower movement speeds across the board, slower bullet velocity and range, a worse sprint to fire speed, and a reduction to our damage range. So again, this is something that'll give you a drastically different experience compared to not using this aftermarket part. So there we go, that covers it for the aftermarket parts themselves. However, since we got this blog post, which wasn't there when I first started recording this video, we got a little more insight into how we unlock attachments, as well as just a few adjustments that they're making from the Modern Warfare II Gunsmith. And the first thing of note here is it looks like in order to unlock these aftermarket parts for a gun, you first have to reach max level for that gun, and then you'll have to complete in-game challenges that become available once you reach max level, and that's how you unlock the aftermarket part. So that seems kind of interesting. I kind of like the fact that you have just that additional grind on top of the standard leveling in order to unlock the new version of the gun. I just find that to be a little bit interesting. And they actually gave an example of this with that Renetti conversion kit, the first one we covered. Once you reach max level for the gun, you have to get 30 kills with 5 attachments equipped on the gun in order to unlock that carbine kit. So not a ridiculous challenge or grind or anything. That could literally take you a game, maybe 2 games, depending on the player. And I do like how they're approaching that, instead of just making these a standard attachment as far as your unlocks go. Additionally, they mentioned when using aftermarket parts, this may or may not open up new slots or new attachments that you can put on the gun as well that you previously wouldn't be able to. And you could kind of see that as we went through some of the images. It changed some of the attachment slots that were available to use on the gun. Next, they actually went into a bit more detail as far as unlocking certain attachments, such as grips, barrels, magazines, and stocks. With these, you'll no longer be required to use a specific weapon after they've already unlocked that attachment for another weapon. And an example they use here is with the assault stock attachment. It's available for both the AMR-9 SMG as well as the Riveter shotgun. However, if you unlock it for the AMR-9 at level 8, then the stock will also be available on the Riveter immediately, and vice versa. So that just offers you multiple paths to unlock the same attachment. You're not forced into using just one gun if you want one specific stock or magazine, for instance. You do have multiple paths there, and I think that does address some of the complaints with the progression system for Modern Warfare 2. And then finally, one last thing they mentioned here in regards to the Gunsmith is it looks like our low zoom optics, the 1x zoom optics, so the ones that don't actually zoom you in at all, like a standard red dot for instance, in Modern Warfare 3, they will not be harming our aim down sight speed at all. And I think that's great. I think it's enough of a trade-off to be using one of your attachment slots just to gain an optic and not really gain any additional stats aside from that. You're just gaining better visibility, essentially. And realistically speaking, not that the game should be balanced around realism, but realistically, an optic like that should be improving your aim down sight time, or the time it takes to acquire your target in your sight. It really shouldn't be slowing things down. So there we go. Overall, these aftermarket parts are looking pretty interesting. I like the fact that they're not treated like just a standard attachment you unlock along the way. You have that additional little challenge to complete. The Gunsmith is looking good so far. Not any massive changes as far as we can see from the Modern Warfare II Gunsmith, but I also think that's fine because I think the Gunsmith was in a pretty good state, aside from the fact that they didn't show detailed stats, which they have confirmed now that they are going to be doing in this game. So far, all of this stuff is looking promising. I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on the game this Thursday at Call of Duty Next. And with that, I am really curious to hear from you guys in the comments section down below. What are you thinking about everything we've learned today regarding aftermarket parts and the Gunsmith for Modern Warfare 3? Are you generally happy to see these things, or are there any things that you're not so happy to see? Just let me know down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.